Hello, you. It's Ethan Lawrence here from Shut Up and Answer the Question. The recording of this episode was less a comedy of errors and more a dramedy of terrors. The first half of it is Sean interviewing me about my career, for which we lost the audio but were able to save the video. And the second half is me interviewing Sean, where we have the perfect audio but lost the video. Sean's been able to clean up the audio from the video of my interview, which sounds okay, if a little weird. And the second half of this interview basically has limited video. We're sorry about that, but we did the best we could. And you know what? That's going to have to be good enough, you greedy piglets!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shut Up and Answer the Question. Where there's... Hello, everybody, and... Fuck, that made me laugh.
Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up and answer the question. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up and answer the question.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shut Up and Answer the Question, the show where you ask us questions and we take a bloody long time answering them. I'm Sean Antony.
And I'm Ethan Lawrence, and we're not doing that now.
Oh,
We're doing something different.
as a request, I believe.
Yes, it was a request. We're doing something different this episode.
Yes.
We're interviewing each other.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah, so it's like a guest episode, but we're the guests and the hosts.
Yes, and there's no question.
And there's no questions. Well, there will be questions, but not question.
Not question.
No, not question.
Not submitted question.
Not submitted question.
Gotcha.
This was requested by Alex from the Discord,
Shout out, Alex. Thank you very much.
and we think it's a good idea.
Yes.
And so we're doing it.
So, let you know a little bit more about us too, I suppose.
Yes, 25 episodes in.
It's a bit of a weird one, yeah. I think the very first episode, we were like, hi, I'm an actor and I do this, this and that. And you were like, I'm a voiceover artist and I do this, this and that. And then we just stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And so if anyone's joined it late, they're like, who are these wackos?
Yep.
These
Why should we listen to these guys? And if you've reached 25 episodes before actually thinking that, then continue listening.
Yeah, might find out. I mean, to be fair, if they've not made it, they won't be hearing this. So that's for no one, really.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, what a shame. What a shame that they did stick with it. Vivies, thank you for sticking with it, whoever you are listening. And this was, as I said, requested on the Discord. And if you want to join the Discord,
Become part of the legal team.
become part of the legal team, like Alex, then you can find the link in the show notes or go to each of our individual Instagram pages where it's on a link tree. And you can find, have you done that yet?
No, I need to do that. I would have done that by this. It's because my I don't have enough followers on my Instagram to actually have a hot link. So
No, I set up the link tree on the pod one, so you should be able to.
it might have been because I tried to set up a personal one and it wouldn't allow me.
Yeah, I think you have to be a business, so I think you can switch that, I think.
I'll give it a go. Okay.
So it might be up on Sean's. If not, you can find it on mine and Pindy Lawrence, or you can find it on the show's one, which is at Shut Up and Answer Pod. There's a YouTube as well.
This is a new thing, yeah. We've just started the YouTube channel, so if you want to see our panicked face,
We just started the YouTube channel now. Yeah, this will be in the future, so it will have existed for a time.
yes,
And if you're not now on it, then why not? Apparently,
give it a subscription. It just it gives us a better idea of followers and that as well, because it's something that you can subscribe to, and
you don't even have to watch the videos, really. Just subscribe to it. It just makes us you don't have to watch them. To be honest with you, I really hate the fact that we're having to pivot to video. The whole point of a
weird love. Sorry.
The weird thing about making video podcasts is that it defeats the purpose of a podcast.
But I believe it's because you can then set the video up as a podcast. It then goes out to YouTube Music as well as a podcast.
Yeah, great. I don't care about that.
The amount of times that we have to jump through hoops for the benign. The one thing that you want to do, you have to jump through like 3 other hoops.
But we recorded them from the very beginning, so I must have known deep down that eventually we'd have to do this. But I was just thinking about clips.
Clips, yeah, I think that's, yeah.
But now it's like there's a whole production. There's a team of people back there now.
A team of me's.
There's a team behind the camera, I mean.
Oh,
Our crew.
yes.
Hi, crew.
Jim, I know I owe you. Anyway,
Just be waving.
see, that's bad for the podcast, but good for the podcast video. There we go. So now you can see who we were waving at. An audio-visual experience now. There's no one there. No.
Milo's there.
Yeah, he's on the old ones and twos.
Where is he? I don't know. Okay, so I've not to turn up to this one.
No, he's called in sick.
Yeah, as per. Right, I don't know how to start this.
Right, what? Okay. One that, like, we know you're an actor.
Oh, I'm going
But-
first. Shit.
Yeah. But I was just, so what was it that made you realize that was your passion? Was it something like you just started doing in school, or is it always been something?
Gonna sound so trite, but it was doing drama in secondary school where I realized that I was good at it.
Yeah.
And enjoyed doing it. And like, I was a fairly academic kid anyway. So like, I was quite good at school.
Yeah.
But there was just something about doing acting because, I mean, I've told this story a million times, but because my mum's a reader, it was inculcated in me quite young, good reading skills, good reading comprehension. So I was quite ahead of my peers in reading in quite a lot of my early schooling, which meant that when it came to the school plays, I was nature's narrator. So I didn't get to go on the stage. I had to stand at the side with those horrible little music stands.
Yeah.
Ones I'm talking about with the script on there. And I'm like turning that. And yeah, so I never got much joy from that. Like, I enjoyed reading and it was fun to like do that bit. It wasn't what I really wanted, I guess. I didn't even know I wanted it like I didn't at the time. But yeah, so then I started doing drama at secondary school and just fell in love with it. And from there, it just escalated. Like I was starting to do shows. I joined a musical theatre group. Like I started training, and like just doing all this sort of stuff. There's barely a weekday night or a weekend that I wasn't acting. There is not a regional theatre in Essex that I have not trod the boards of. I've done them all. I've done the Town Gate. I've done the Head Gate. I've done the Mercury. I've done all of them. And I did the Royal Albert Hall once with my playing school. They did we had a whole thing. It was like a multi-Essex school thing. It was mental because it was like, I think I was probably too young to really appreciate the enormousness of performing at the Royal Albert Hall. But there we go.
It's one of those things that all the adults are like, oh yeah, the Albert Hall, that's great. And as a kid, you just feel like, where's that? What is that? Is it a long drive? No, it's a train. Oh, even better. Ugh, yuck. Oh no, actually, no, I think we did get a bus in, now that I recall. Now I think about it. Maybe. I don't know, I can't remember. It was a long time. You can't expect me to remember what happened when I was like 13. And that was, because then that goes on to sort of, is that how you were found for, I'm going to say bad education was your first?
Yeah.
So like, was it just, I'm going to say, it's like, so I'm not in the know, but was it like a scout or something that?
So it was a bit of a weird thing. So this is a bit complicated, but I'll walk you through it. So there's a casting website called Spotlight, and yeah, at the time, like you had to be on that. You had to be on that if you were going to get found anywhere. And the way we got around getting on it, because you had to have either, I think at the time, it's probably changed now, but at the time you had to have either 3 professional credits or professional representation.
Yeah.
Beginning the great catch-22 of all getting into acting, which is you have to have been an actor and be a professional actor before you're allowed to be a professional actor. It's a great industry. I love it.
They're all still the same.
And if you look at my Substack, you will see how much I love my industry and how much I think it's great and should never change. So the way we got around that is that the theatre group I was with, Stageability, shout out Gary and Anne, also rest in peace Gary, we set up kind of like a cottage agency where basically all the people that were there were put on books, which then technically meant that we were represented, which means that technically we could go on Spotlight. And so we did, and nothing really came of it because, they were busy running the school. Like, they weren't agents, right? And so like I went out for a few things, but like it was never anything big. And then I went off to university, and the agency had basically ceased trading at that point. because it just wasn't getting anywhere. It was just sort of an extraneous thing. But I still had a year on my spotlight, and so I was still on there. And then at the beginning of my second term of my first year of university, I got an email from Anne saying, "Oh, I've got an audition for you," and I was like, "Oh, cool." So I went down to London and I did the read and everything, and then I got called back and did like a chemistry read, which with Jack Whitehall, which is kind of crazy.
Oh wow!
And then I got the gig, and a couple of weeks later, I was on my first professional shoot, wondering what the fuck happened.
I was gonna say, but that must, like, especially if you've done like stage shows and stuff like that, it's got to be a whole.
It's a completely different medium. Like I've seen Balification Series 1 a couple of times, and every time I look at it, I cringe. Because all I can see is someone in a blind panic. Like, that's no idea what they're doing. And people probably didn't notice, but I certainly noticed. I'm like, holy shit. And like, when people say like, if you go back to do it again, I'll be like, yeah, I would, because there's a lot of things I would change.
Well, I think it was a good character to go into, especially with Joe, because he is kind of awkward and like that was a part of his character.
The fact that I was a panicked young man really helped playing a panicked young man.
Exactly. Yeah. I wasn't acting really. For most of you were bringing the real life experience.
Yeah, Stanislavski would say that. I would say that I was just shitting myself. But hey, what's the difference, right? That's my method.
It's what the camera reads at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that all happened, and then to sort of move the story a little bit forward, what happened there, because like essentially as their only client, like it still didn't make much sense for Anne to be in charge of all that, but she got me my start, so I'll be forever grateful. But after the second series, I got chatting at the after party to one of Jack Whitehall's friends, Marcus. Shout out to Marcus, please don't sue us. And he used to do temp PA work for an agent, and he said I could get you in contact with him, and I was like, cool, I would love that if you did that. And that's how my communication started with Michael Ford, then at Derry Allen Associates. Went into London. I went to meet him. I can't remember why, but I was getting money out, and the bank machine ate my card. And that happened on the way to the meeting. So I was like panicking, but like panicking again. So like, I said to the staff at the bank, I was like, my card's been eaten by the machine. And they said, oh, you had to get a new one. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just letting you know. Bank machines at my car. I don't think you can do anything about it. I'm just letting you know that one of your cash. I was not in a good state when I arrived at tapping up at the side. I said, panicked, no card, no money. And I'm like, hey, Michael, how's it going? I mean, that's but been hour-long chat, and like, he spoke about, what I'd done and my history and Michael's history and like what he was doing in DAF. And like, it was a good meeting, felt like a good fit. And then I was walking back to the station when Michael called me and said, but yeah, we would like to represent you. And that was 11 years ago now. And I'm still with Michael Ford now, having survived the dissolution of DAA, that then became Hatch. So yeah, I've been with the same agent virtually for my entire professional career.
Fantastic.
And so that's basically how that went. Because the second series came fast, because like, it's weird to think about now, but like we're sort of talking, this is all pre-Netflix becoming like a big deal. Like Orange is the New Black had yet to come out, which is sort of the thing that sort of launched Netflix into.
I was trying to say, it was like by that time it was still doing like DVDs, and that it was doing that. What boat was it?
Started to stream, because we're talking like 2012. It was streaming, but it was like films and shit. Like the stuff that they brought in, they hadn't started making original content yet. So we're talking about sort of like the digital world. Digiboxes and all that, Freeview.
Oh man.
And so BBC Three was obviously the sort of young adult jewel in the crown. And when the first episode of Bad Education went out, it broke the record for most viewers on the debut episode. That was broken 6 weeks later by the next thing on the docket, which was Cuckoo. If you remember that.
Yes.
That was Greg Davies and what's he passed from? No, it was
no.
It was Taylor Lautner later, but it was one of the guys from fucking
Lonely Island, Andy Samberg.
Yeah, Andy Samberg, the one of the Lonely Island guys, and that then broke the record. But because we broke that record, like they were very quick to commission series 2, and then series 3, and then subsequently the film, and then subsequently the reunion and then 2 further series. Obviously, I wasn't involved in those 2 further series, but yeah, so it was a good show to start out in. I won't lie.
I mean, that must have been such a good feeling, like it being renewed so quickly. But then it must have been like straight away, it was the pressure there that was sort of like, oh, I've got to do like. How did you feel about that? Is like, do you do more of the same, or is there more there that they wanted to lean into that you're like, can we try something different, or are you just happy?
I was still so young. You got to remember, when I came off that shoe, my immediate thought was not, haha. Like, my immediate thought was, that was fun. That's probably the last thing I will ever do professionally.
Oh yeah,
But, you know, like, because like I'd had a crack at the whip,
yeah,
and I was like, that was great. But like, you know, ultimately BBC Three,
yeah.
like, you know, this isn't, but then obviously went mental. But then coming back for series 2, you know, I was just so grateful to be there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I did, you know, there's some humiliating things were done to my hair. I can't lie. That was the bowl cut series. Oh yes. And that's when we shot the Christmas special as well. So it was 7 weeks instead of 6. While I was at university.
Oh, bloody hell.
So I was getting a lot of stick from the boys, as you can imagine. But yeah, no, it was you know, again, I'm going to use the phrase forever grateful again, but like, you know, that whole team, like, you know, it was a trial by fire, but it was also a good job to learn on, because those classroom scenes used to take all day, because, you know, it looks quick and quippy and everything like that, but you've got to remember that, like, we've got to get coverage on everyone, and it's only 2 cameras. So those scenes would take a long time. So it was a good way to learn how a set operates. And like, you know, I was, even now, like, I still do this to this day, but like, I would, during downtimes, I would go talk to the crew and find out what they did, because like, I was just sponge. I just wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And principally because I felt out of my depth, but also just like, you know, I'm not really going to get another opportunity to sort of do this. I was until we launched a podcast and got an actual TV director. But yeah, I wasn't to know that 13 years ago. Did you know in 13 years you'll have a podcast where you interview a director? Oh, right. What's a podcast?
Basically, it's really good to like to then understand what they're going to be looking for in your performance, so you can then sort of tailor it to how best to suit whichever angle it's going for, or whatever is being shot at that time.
Because then partly that, I mean, Bad Education was an interesting one. This isn't me speaking ill, but one of the issues that I found, and it was something that I learned, again, it's something that you have to know, like the politics of a set.
Okay.
And to like, and it's not like it's bitchy or cliquey or anything like that. There was hierarchy. It was more along the lines of, there were 3 very distinct driving forces at the top in when we were shooting Bad Education. On the one hand, you had Jack, who wrote it, and so obviously had his own vision. You had Ben and Pippa, who were the producers, who, you know, again, have to deliver. So they also got a vision of what it's going to be. And the director, who, again, as the person who has to actually bring this to life, also has a vision. And so sometimes you would get conflicting notes. And at that point, you've just got to fight. Again, it sounds like politicking, but it's sort of not. It's just, you hear what people are saying, and if they're conflicting, you just sort of have to try and find a middle way. And like, you know, in that way, just staying true to your character and like, you know, how they would act, and try to please everyone, which is sort of a difficult thing to do, because when you try to please everyone, you inevitably end up pleasing no one.
Yeah.
But you know, you keep your head down, do a good job, and you'll be all right. I mean, I pride myself on being very professional. Like, you know, my professionalism is very important to me.
Yeah.
And like, you know, so I'm always doing the best I can to try and make sure everything's flowing. I'm not generating problems.
Yeah.
Because there's already enough problems on the set. Like, because honestly, being on a set is the most insane thing. Like, because there's so many moving parts all the time. It's like the director's job, we sort of spoke about this with Keen, but like the director's job is essentially to steer a sinking ship that is on fire into harbor while preventing loss of life.
I remember so clearly when he was saying, like, obviously when he's not doing directing, then there's the prop guys, or there's the set dressers, or there's this.
Yeah, and he's in
all of being used at the same time. So you have got to be down.
The workflow is insane. Like, you know, something as easy theoretically as just 2 people talking to each other in a room requires 50 different jobs to go off perfectly.
Bloody hell.
And so I find being on set absolutely invigorating.
Yeah.
Because there's so much industry all the time. Like people talk about downtime on set, well, actors talk about downtime on sets, and what they mean by downtime is that they're not acting at the moment. But that's not really downtime for me. Like, you know, I'm looking around and I'm like, ooh, what does a key grip do?
Yeah.
Like, who is the best boy? And find that out.
Oh, Milo, then go. So, but a key grip, for example, is the guy who's in charge of not the cameras, but the camera equipment.
So like he's the one who gets the stands or the runners or the dollies and everything like that. Your best boy is the dude who is just below the gaffer, in charge of electricity and lights. And so I find these people interesting in what they're doing. And it's just it's an incredible place to work because there's so much going on all the time and so many interesting people.
Yeah.
It's a real joy. And I'm usually quite an introvert, but when I'm on set, I'm like constantly badgering people with questions.
That's cool.
What's that? What does that light do? What's press this? What happened? We're union. You are not allowed to touch anything. If you're an actor, you will be given a prop. You do not pick up a prop.
And then, oh, well, yeah, because then you had, during this whole, like, you had your, the bad education. And then, whether, like, there was a bit of a gap between, obvious, from bad education and then afterlife. But did you have other little bits that you
So bad education and afterlife were like the two big ones. But in between, there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that those ones didn't get the eyes on that the other ones necessarily did. I mean, one did. I mean, for example, I did a guest episode of Doc Martin.
Yeah.
So, like, that was huge. And like, that was a lot of fun. That happened around that time as well. But, like, as a sort of jobbing comedy gun for hire, I was very useful to, especially because I was just starting out and I was still relatively young, I was quite useful to smaller productions that were sort of starting out comedy. So I've done a lot of pilots and stuff. Like I did a pilot for BBC called Rude Boys, which was a lot of fun. But when you're shooting those pilots, it's very guerrilla, and I always really enjoy that. Like when it's just the people just like bundling it in front of the location, we're just going to shoot some stuff, and there's going to be crazy and run off. And that is great fun. So that was good. Rude Boys ended up not going anywhere, unfortunately, because at the time I think it was some kind of sort of competition that BBC Three were running where they'd make a succession of pilots and then put them out on the nascent iPlayer.
Oh yeah.
And it was like whoever watched more did this thing. And I believe that's how Josh Widdicombe got his sitcom commissioned. I think that was who we were up against. So it's no surprise that that we didn't do that as Ethan and his mates. No, that was good. And like little bits like that. I did Flat TV, which is a great little sitcom with Tom Rosenthal and Nazos Manalay. Which was an interesting little concept. It was flatmates who like live their lives through television, and so it was kind of like it was a standard sitcom, but all of the bits would be suffused with a parody of a TV show. So like they're throwing a dinner party. It's MasterChef.
Oh, okay.
And so like
it could then copy that format.
Yeah, it copies the format, and like they put a bold cap on Nazos Manalay, and he's like Greg Wallace being like, oh fuck yeah. So it's a good little show. I played like their straight man flatmate who had no time for their bullshit. So they're like, it's great, Mike, you come and do this thing. And I'll be walking, I'll be like, I have a job. I have a job that I have to go to. And it's fun playing the straight man because I'm lucky to have worked with a lot of people who are really, really fucking funny. And at that point, all I have to do, I win by doing nothing. Just not corpsing. Yeah, so I've just got to sit there and be like, I am here to facilitate your funny. Maybe one day I'll be the man in charge of doing the funny, but I'm happy playing the sidekick a lot of the time. Like, no, that's good for me. But yeah, so that was sort of what happened in between Bad Education and Afterlife. It was a period of about, I really started picking up after I got Michael as my agent, so I was doing all sorts of things from maybe like 2013 onwards. Yeah, so between 2013 and 2018, it was a good period where I was working as a bit like making a living as an actor. So it was really good.
And then you were doing voiceover.
That came later. So that was that would have been around 2017, 18.
Okay.
They sort of, my agency sort of had a thing going on with a voiceover agency, Meet the Joneses, who again I'm Neil Wes, yeah. Oh, and so that sort of started happening. Again, there's sort of little supplementary stuff like you got for advert here and there, and like I ended up dubbing How to Sell Drugs Online Fast for Netflix from the German. That's fun. That's fun doing dubbing. I enjoy that. But yeah, so again, there were all bits of supplementary income. I think there's a, I mean, I've spoken about this on thousands of podcasts at this point, but like, I think there's an overriding myth that all actors are doing really well. And it's not. It's the same as any freelancing job. Like, you know, you jump from job to paycheck, and like, you know, you're not working all the time, but when you are working, you're doing the best you can. Sometimes you have great periods, sometimes you have fallow periods. Just anyone who is self-employed knows this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've got much more in common, I think, with like an electrician than I do with someone who works in an office. Yeah. You know, salaried and that. But yeah, so then Afterlife came around. That was, people ask, oh, did Ricky seek you out personally? It's like, no, I did an audition. Same as any other audition. And yeah, it was the two recorders up the nose. Like, again, that was the thing. I like doing business. I love having things to do with my hands. One of the reasons I got a job on a job called Trying Again, with the Skyloading with Chris Addison, was my character, in order to prevent sweat when he was going up for his driving lesson, affixed 2 sanitary towels to his underarms. And in the audition, I just did a thing where I like lifted my arms up and just sort of looked at them like that. And that got me the role. Simon Blackwell, who wrote it, is brilliant writer. Shout out to Simon. Yeah, he described it as like, oh, he's got funny bones. And that's my stock in trade. Like, you know, I know my way around a script and I know what looks funny.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to humiliate myself for other people's pleasure. The amount of times I've had to get my bum out, Sean, like, it's frightening to me that millions of people have seen my bum. Millions.
No, yeah, but then you'd never personally meet all of them, so it's just sort of, it'd be amazing. Like, I think I've said something similar to this before, but when you're doing it on set, it can't really click on like how many people are going to be experiencing it. So for you just done it in front of, I don't know, 20 people or whatever. Well, then when it blows up, you just sort of like, oh, yeah, that's the thing.
It's work a day. Like, you know, you do the job that's put in front of you. Like, again, when people talk about how are you paid, for example, this is a question that I get a lot. And the answer to that question is I get paid for my labor. Like, you know, I go in, I have a weekly salary.
Yeah.
And that's how much I get paid. And so because I've got that in my mind, I'm like, I am a salaried man doing a job right now.
You do what, yeah.
Yeah. Because again, like, I have a very mixed view on people who treat acting as like this grand artistic endeavor, when for the most part, it's just craft and graft.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just get on with it and do the job that's put in front of you. And I'm deeply suspicious of method actors for that reason, because I'm like, it's a job though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, switch off. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but no disrespect to method actors, but actually full disrespect to method actors, because I just feel I've not worked with someone who's like that, but I just imagine it would be exhausting. Like, you know, the camera's cut, and immediately, normally when cameras cut on, when I'm around, the cameras will cut, will be absolutely clear, and then we'll chat, and like we'll go get a biscuit or something like that. I can't imagine cameras cutting and you still being in it.
Yeah.
Being like, no, I'm the Joker. And it's like, chill out, Jared. I'm shouting out, I'm calling out Jared Leto, because he sat like a rat or something.
Yeah. So like, some proper, yeah, he did some weird stuff as well that like the other cast were like, yeah, it's a bit too much. Well, that said, I'm like, you know, that kind of stuff, it's not even what the Joker would do.
It's like, this is a method actor. You're just being a dick. Like, ultimately, you're just being difficult. I'm like, I hate being difficult. Being difficult is one of my least, I hate it if I'm the cause of something that's going on. Like, even if it's not necessarily my fault. Like, let's say, for example, take Horrible Histories, for example, because again, that has to run like clockwork.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if there's a delay on the makeup, which there can be, because, like, you know, they're extremely good at their job, but you can't get 100% of the things right 100% of the time.
Glue has a cure time.
So there are going to be delay, and I feel bad, even though it's not my fault. Like, you know, I've been runners love me, by the way, because I do a thing that no other actor does. Apparently, I read the call sheet. So like, it's got where you need to be. Like, I know some actors, I won't name any names, but if you're listening to this, you know who I'm talking about, because it's Yin. Like, people who, like, they're like, oh, where do I need to go? And I'm like, there's a call sheet. They put a call sheet in your room every day.
I've got to be here by any time, so
It tells you. It's really good at it. They've gone to such great lengths. It shows you when makeup is, when costume is, and when your breakfast is. So you just follow that, really. And if you've got a bit of extra time, that's great. You can go kick a ball around or say hello to the director or manage your time effectively. But apparently I'm the only actor in existence currently working in both the UK and abroad who actually takes an interest in what's on the call sheet. And so runners love me because they know I'm absolutely minimal hassle.
yeah.
Because generally they have to drag the actors kicking and screaming into makeup, whereas they go to my room, knock, and I'm not there, I'm already in makeup. Just in the chair. Where have you been? Oh, hello. Fetch me old orange, would you, dear?
Can I have an ice cream? No, we've got the beard on. Oh, best not.
That's not. And also at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's not the time for ice.
But you touched on it earlier on, about the whole audition process. But I mean, you've still got to you've got to play the numbers game. I mean, you must have had hundreds of auditions that you've gone through, both during the before times when you actually had to physically be there to the self-taped stuff. And how do you sort of, you've got so many that you've got to work your way through. Do you find that sometimes that it sort of does bog you down when you've got a no, or do you is it a not? Because personally, I take it as it's not personal. It's just not the vision that they have.
Yeah.
But it's do you have a similar sort of thought pattern, or is it sort of another one? And it's hard not to feel that way, but it's just
Firstly, I always joke that I've had more failed job interviews than most people have had hot dinners, which is worryingly true. But no, I'm with you on that. You have to develop a really fucking thick skin to work in this industry or any creative industry, really. And if you don't develop that, then you're not going to make it.
No.
And I people come to me for advice sometimes, and they're sort of what do I need to do? And instead of saying do this, and this, I try to warn them.
Yeah.
Not to warn them away, but just to say to them, what I often say is, if you don't want this 100%, don't fucking bother.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it. It's not worth the mental strain of being rejected over and over and over again. It's not worth the mental strain of not knowing where your next job is and where your next paycheck is coming from. You have to want this, because if you don't, do something else. Do something more stable. You don't need to do this to yourself unless you
can't physically
can't live without doing this. It's, and that sounds like a mania almost, but it is it takes a lot to have to know for a fact that in a given year you could have 100 auditions and you'd maybe get to.
Yeah.
2 successes, great. 98 rejections.
Yeah.
And most of those rejections, you won't even know. You'll know you didn't get it when it comes on the telly. And you're like, oh, right, great.
You're hearing something and you're like, that sounds familiar. Oh.
I literally had this the other day. Genuinely, I won't name it, but I had this the other day. The cast list was announced for a thing that I auditioned for. And even though I know there would have been an email if I still checked.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe there's been but no, I mean, a lot of the time you don't get deep enough into the audition process and you get emotionally attached to it. It gets harder when you get close.
Yeah.
If you've gone through multiple rounds, and a theatre especially is dog ass to this, because you'll do so many rounds of auditions and chemistry reads and all sorts of things like that. And then to get to the final hurdle and then not get it is brutal. You can brush off.
Yeah.
Oh, I did a self-tape and it didn't go anywhere. You can brush that off.
Yeah.
But when you commit, because again, I think one of the things people don't realize about auditions is it's not just you turn up and then you read off a bit of card and then you go. A lot of they will say in the emails, it is not necessary to be off book. What that means is it is absolutely fucking necessary for you to be off book. And you should be, if any young actors out there, advice for you, be off book. Find time, because you cannot deliver a good performance with a script in your head.
No.
You just can't. It's not possible. So you need to do that. You need to learn and make it a habit. And so for me, like if it could be a self-tape, like, you know, for anything, if I've got 2 days to do it, I will sit down and knuckle down and learn all the lines that I need to do so that I can then do it completely off book. It just makes sense. But that is a time commitment.
Yeah.
And like, again, one of the things I say to actors that are starting out is you're going to be doing a lot of unpaid labor, a lot of unpaid labor.
And that's where people, like, when people think, oh, like actors get the big money and stuff like that, they don't see, like, at the end of the day, for maybe that one season or that one show or that one, whatever it is, you've done so much unsuccessful, unpaid work that you need to make up for that on your paycheck. So for that downtime.
And the thing that home is meant to be like, you know, and like ultimately, I mean, take something I auditioned for. This was a theatre thing. I went through 5 rounds, which took nearly 2 months.
Oh, bloody hell.
And so like this was learning lines, trips to and from London, unpaid, all of it unpaid, all on the back of my own dime. And like, you know, you may scoff, and you may say, oh, learning lines, oh yeah, well, that's a job. It is mentally taxing.
Oh, it bloody, like, you know, I did a video of, I just tried to do a 1-minute monologue, but it did take me about 45 minutes just to sort of get, because I'm lucky that I've always got a script there if I need it. But trying to just hammer that into your mind, it does really, like, it really takes some effort.
It's because the same people who say that it's not work will then go, I don't know how you can learn all those lines. Like, well, yeah, it's almost like it's hard work.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's just advice for actors out there. Just learn your lines. Like, I know it's tough. I mean, I'm doing work with a local amateur dramatic society. Shout out to Amy, shout out to Matt. And like, I've been doing some work in rehearsals for sort of like fine tuning and punching up acting and like line delivery and stuff like that. And I say the same to them as I say to someone who wants to be a working professional, because I know these are amateurs who have jobs, but I say to them, look, find time.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you will deliver a better product if you are across things early. Because if you know your words and they're like a muscle memory, that then I can jump in and start fine tuning.
Yeah.
Like, I can't work with you if I can't see you because you've got your script up to your face. And it's, yeah. So when they say in casting breakdowns that you don't need to be off book, that is a lie. But that is then separating the wheat from the chaff.
That on its own is just an easy way to slim it down. If you are, as you say, you're turning up with the script in front of you, they're like, next. They don't have to say next straight away, but they can just go, excellent, okay, thank you, and they know to cross that name off.
It comes back to wanting it. It comes back to wanting it. All you have is a show that you're willing to put in the work, because it is hard work. Like, you know, I've spoken about this with regards to horrible histories, and we spoke about it with James and Harry as well. Like, the churn of dialogue that you have to go through. Like, you in 4 sketches a day, which means you've got pages and pages and pages of dialogue to learn. Then you do it, that's got to go, and then you've got to get the next day's lot in.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's easier on some things. Like on a drama, like you might do maybe 2 or 3 pages a day, so you can be absolutely across that. I did the thing for Apple TV. Is it called Disclosure or Disclaimer or something? I can't remember the name of it because I was given a dummy name when I did it, and then I forgot about it. So, fair enough. That was with it was a very intense drama. I was doing a scene with Kevin Kline, and a very, very cool actor.
Yeah.
And we did like a page and a half in a day. And it was just this one scene with loads of moving parts, and it was really, really intense. And that was happening while I was doing Magic Mike. Bloody. And so then I'd jump back to Magic Mike, and I'd be like, ooh. And so the different attitude on set is great. But again, it's just a matter of way of thing. But you got to roll with the punches.
I mean, like, well, you were just saying about Magic Mike. I mean, that was very different, wasn't it? Because did you still have to audition for that, or was that an offered job?
That was offer only. That came off the back of Afterlife, funnily enough. Because the character of Woody, the stage manager, was based on a real person. That was the original stage manager at the Florida Magic Mike live shows. And so it was initially written for like a 50-year-old like husky dude. But then they saw my excellent work, my groundbreaking work in Afterlife, and they were like, do you know what? We don't actually need a husky 50-year-old. What we need is this little dickhead. Get him in. And I mean, it's such a great job because I know why they cast me, because I think they suspected I'd be fun to have around,
Yeah.
and I was. Because they used to let Steven Soderbergh, God love him, he used to let the camera roll at the end of scenes just so I could do a bit. And knowing full well this was never ever going to make the edit, but just to like G up morale,
Yeah.
like keep everyone in check. Because again, big group scenes with lots of dancers, some of whom have acting experience, some didn't. So it was sort of like, it was a kind of an interesting mix. But I mean, I've had those jobs before where I've essentially been parachuted in as professional actor man alongside people who are not necessarily actors, maybe they're presenters or like busts or whatever, because I'm good to have around because I pull the quality up. No, they're literally like, you know, I'm there because they know I'm professional. They know that I'll be absolutely on it. They know I'll be introducing stuff, like, you know, trying to bring things out of people, letting other people bounce off me. I like to be a fight-all player. Like, you know, it sounds arrogant, and it took me a long time to get to this point. Like, you know, it took me 10 years to actually really look at myself and go, do you know what? I'm really fucking good at this.
Yeah, like really fucking good at this. And that's a hard thing on its own, to just acknowledge to yourself and then not have that sort of feeling, oh, am I being sort of, well, yeah, am I, like, you're saying it with confidence, you're not being arrogant.
No, I don't say it with arrogance. I say it as someone who's fucking put in the work. Yeah, you know, I learned to be good. Like, you know, I learned how to be professional because I sat there and I fucking listened.
Yeah.
I talked to people on set. I talked to the crew. I talked to my directors. I worked with other actors. I have put in so much. I've worked with so many people. I've learned so much from so many people who are way smarter and better at it than I am. And that's how you do it. You do it by being open and receptive and listening.
Yeah.
I think a lot of actors, not a lot of actors, that's not fair, but like people, failed actors, people who don't make it,
Yeah.
tends to be the sort of people that aren't willing to listen.
They think, I've got it, I don't need it.
I'm an actor. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't.
No one who does what they do.
And especially in a large cast or even a small cast, but like, you know, with a director's vision, you don't know what the director's thinking. He's been sat at home, or she, is usually he, has been sat at home storyboarding this for months. You haven't got a fucking clue. So your job is to learn your lines, get told where to stand, give the best performance that you can give, and then get the fuck out of there.
That's like, what, and just making it as smooth as possible for them. I mean, yeah, like it's like being a roadie, to be honest, to make sure that the show goes perfectly. Like, sometimes you're not even seen. Like, I know you're seen in front of the camera, but if you're doing that, but as long, like, if one negative memory comes in to anyone on that set for next time, if that name pops up again, they go, oh, wait a minute, no, that was a bit of a difficult.
That's it. You don't want to get a reputation for being difficult. And like, you know, that doesn't mean you need to be a pushover. Like, you know, absolutely stand up for yourself if things aren't going in a way that is comfortable and preferable to you. Absolutely stand up for yourself. It's important. But by the same token, be a team player, because ultimately you are part of a very large roving team. I think, again, there's this sort of misapprehension or misjudgment that is sort of like, there are actors and then there is the crew. No, we are a band. We are a traveling band. And without all of us doing everything we need to do, it's not going to get anywhere. And so collaboration is so important, and listening and just doing that. And like I said, I pride myself on having put in the hours so that now I can say I am a useful person to have on set. I'm good to have around, like, bring good energy, get good performance. And that's ultimately all you can ask for. This is why, you know, let's say these days, because the industry is in a state of near perpetual collapse. Yeah. But that was why I was getting offers instead of auditioning, because they'd looked at my work and they've heard from sets and they go, he'll be good to have around.
And that's like, it's because, you know, the next set that you're going on, you're not going to be going, oh, I know, like, you're going to find something else for yourself to learn about and to, yeah. So, you know, as well, that you're going to be able to build on yourself as well as on the project, that whatever next project is going to be.
Absolutely. Well, you take everything from a job that you do. Like, you always take something else with you. Like, I did a short horror film, Old Silas, not yet out, but keep an eye on the clouds. And that was amazing because I was asked to do it by the script supervisor of Afterlife, who was wrote and directed. and it was brilliant. It was me and the actress Belinda Owusu, and we were in this fishing lodge, and like it was a really, really intense two-hander, shot almost like a play, and it was invigorating, and it taught me that I was like, oh yeah, I can do dramatic stuff as well. But I forgot about that. I haven't been playing a clown prince for the majority of. I had to dust off that drawer. Oh, they're acting shit. How did feel thinks? But no, that was good.
But hey, you know what? We're at 45 minutes, so enough about me. Yeah, no, I think we're just going to keep that episode with you, my dude. No, we're not. Here's where we change.
So I imagine there is going to be a lot of overlap with, like, you know, general sort of working and auditioning and everything like that. So I'll try to focus less on that, because I imagine your answers are going to be quite similar to mine.
Although it might be different on platforms and stuff like that, obviously, because...
yeah, I mean, maybe there'll be time at the end to talk admin. But I wanted to really sort of kick off with... This is going to sound like such a trite question, but you know what I'm like when I'm interviewing. What's being a voiceover artist like?
I mean, it's one of the, like, as you said before, there's one of those things that you simply have to do. And to me, it feels like voiceover is just, it's one of those things that I cannot picture myself doing anything else. And like, you know me, if you've listened, like, you know that I've had loads of bloody jobs. I've done a variety of different things. Voiceover is the thing that I have done the longest. It is also the single most stressful thing that I've ever done. And it is also, bar my family and children, the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. And it's kind of like, you know, when you're like, oh, I wish I found it earlier, but if I found it earlier, would I love it the same? I don't know.
Well, I mean, how did you find it? Because you had lived a fair chunk of life before you actually started doing voiceover, like, you know, flinging yourself around the country and concussing yourself.
Exactly.
Because I believe you worked at a council beforehand, as sort of like a...
Many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
give me your prehistory and then and then sort of where voiceover came from. Only because I'm sort of thinking to myself, if you're living a normie life,
yeah,
where does that instinct come from?
Well, it's because I've always been a very shy person with new company. If I know people, I get to warm up, I become more of the clown. And that's ever since I was little, and then loving cartoons and I've always made weird noises and copied accents and stuff like that. But it was just one of those things that was the hobby that was just me as a quirk. I never thought it would be like a job for me to do. And then I never really knew what I wanted to do at school. I never found something that made me just go, I want to do this forever kind of thing.
They don't have like a voiceover module.
They don't have a voiceover module. They don't have, like, at my school, we didn't have drama.
Egg.
So I never really encountered drama the way that I don't know, the way that if I was made to do it or something, or maybe I was just a despondent kid that I was just so like shy that I just automatically went, no, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, it never came up on my radar until 2016, when we went to, like, Carrie and I booked a venue for our wedding, and then I realised I'd have to talk in front of a whole room of people.
Yes.
Let alone, like, and as I said before, like, maybe a room of 5 people. Maybe if I was working in an office, this small group of people around me, I'll be the silly, I'll be the fool. It was fun to do. But then after that, I thought, oh shit, I better get up and, like, get my confidence going.
There's nothing like being forced to do something.
Yeah.
To really focus the mind.
Exactly. And and I did that, and then I was reading, like, creepypastas and scary stories and stuff on YouTube, and then, like, I was getting my confidence up just speaking out loud. And my first ever video from, I think it was the 16th of March 2016, is still on YouTube, and you can hear me going, hi everyone, how's it going? Yeah, I'm not really sure what I want this from this kind of thing.
We are so going to live that.
But now now I just feel so much more confident. But then it started, like, I was really enjoying it. I was like watching videos on how to do it better. I started, and I joined a company, or a training company called Gravy for the Brain, which is run by these fantastic guys who like would give you the step-by-step things that you should be doing, what you should be looking out for voiceover. And I joined that about a year later.
If you don't mind me asking, was there a point where it sort of segued from learning how to be better at public speaking in general to voiceover?
Yeah.
Was this the pivot point?
This was pretty much the pivot point. So through paying attention to Hugh Edwards and Peter Dixon. They're the two that
Peter Dixon!
Exactly him. And I've spoken to him
not,
many times.
not that Hugh Edwards.
Oh, no, not that Hugh Edwards. No.
Great guy.
But I through doing that and then learning through other people on YouTube, a guy called Bill DeWeese, and I was then thought, let's give it a go. And for my sins, I started a gig on Fiverr. The way that I thought about it, it was just kind of like an apprenticeship, really. Just learn how to do things to somebody else's standard, not your own.
And so for people who don't know, Fiverr's like a website where you can sort of hire various kinds of
freelancers
artists.
It was called Fiverr because you started everything for a Fiverr. I will do.
Right.
But you can
it's sort of developed into like a kind of sort of go-between middle manager for people who are looking for something and people who can do the thing.
Yes. Yeah. And so I did that, and I started off like, I don't know, it was like 250 words for £5 or whatever it was. And I was just getting used to reading aloud, reading different kinds of scripts and stuff like that. And then it kind of snowballed. I was then doing like bigger projects. I was doing audiobooks for ACX. And then I was doing other, I was trying out other platforms as I was going as well. And then about 18 months later, I was given an ultimatum because I was doing I was traveling up to London, getting up at 6, traveling up to London for 9, getting home for 7, doing dinner, and then staying up until about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing voiceover.
Burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
That's very much a Sean thing to do.
Yep. And Carrie was pretty much like, you need to choose one and run with it, and give the other one up. And so I thought, look, if it's working, I'll do it this way. I'll see how voiceover takes me. And that was 8 years ago now. 8 years ago, and I'm still doing it full time. So
Fantastic.
I must be doing something.
Yeah. Well, again, I could say the same about myself. I'm like, you've been a full-time actor for 13 years. Must be doing something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've described yourself in other media as a vocal stuntman.
Yes.
Which I find such an interesting concept.
Well, I don't... Yeah. So it's not... It's something that I've recently found as an additional interest for me. I mean, I've always... if you've known me for more than 10 minutes, you know I like making noises that aren't just human. I used to beatbox, and I used to do... and I love my metal singing. And there's a guy who does training in it, but he calls it vocal stunt work. And I was like, that's really interesting, because it kind of is, because there is a very special technique that you need to sort of adopt to do these kinds of sounds without damaging your vocal folds. If you do try and scream straight off the bat, you can, if you're not well warmed up, if it's not well hydrated, you can shred your vocal folds, which will stop you talking altogether. And the next time that you are able to talk properly, your voice is going to be lower, just because there's scar tissue there. You can develop polyps as well, which can be quite painful, and then you need an operation to take them out. So making sure that I'm doing it properly, I can then use these for, as I've done before, like orcs in Warhammer 40k. A lot of it is just battle or demon or monster vocals that they like because it just sounds more animalistic.
And they don't have to do anything in post
No,
to sort of
no.
fix that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those wanky things that people say that is actually true, which is that the voice is your instrument.
Yeah.
And just like any instrument, it needs maintenance and upkeep, and to avoid damaging it.
Exactly.
So maybe talk us through that. What's some of the more extremes? You don't have to do them, but like, you know, some of the more extreme sounds that you're able to make, and how did you sort of? Is it just a case of watching people on YouTube or watching some of your peers, or what is it?
Yeah, it is. It is watching people on YouTube. But the weird thing is, it is. I apologise in advance, but practicing on yourself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I know you want to laugh, but yeah, it's. So if you're in the shower or something like that as well.
You practice on yourself in the shower.
But I mean, because it's a little enclosed space and stuff like that, and because there is water there, you could like it's kind of like the little one of those steam machines. It can like help a little bit more,
Especially if you're running it hot as well. You actually are literally inside a steam machine.
Yeah. So that way you can then get a better idea and easily what noises you can make. So, for instance, a lot of metal singers, they will make that kind of noise, and it does sound like either quite damaging or they're really belting. And by pushing, it does, like, you can still push. It's called compression, but instead of pushing up by your throat, instead, if you're using your diaphragm and then pushing your diaphragm and then compressing your chest at the same time, you can make a similar sound that's not really drying out and rushing air like in droves past your vocal folds, which can do the damage. And then, so there's that, which is like the really angry, deep orc war cry, which you can then start adding more voices and angriness, which really helps the projection for one, but then like you can get the grip behind it. But there's also the pitch fry, or the fry scream, which is
I know Fry from and again, this might be useful for people at home. Think a valley go at the end of her sentence.
exactly all right.
Like, all right.
Yeah,
That's Fry, right?
Yeah. So it's sort of like trying to go as low as possible while still making a noise. It sort of bubbles.
I'm trying to leave no one behind.
Yeah. So
No, it's only because it's technical and it's interesting. But
Yeah.
I think if people like can have an idea of what that, because everyone's heard that, but they might not have heard it in this context.
exactly, and it's that same sort of. So when you're doing that like when that fry, you can feel it deep into your chair. Yeah, you know.
And he's a server, dude.
It was great, man. But it's all down in your chest. But what you can do, so you've got your chest voice. I can't remember what it's called in singing terms. But you've got chest voice and then head voice. And then you've got sort of like a middle voice. A mixed voice, it's called.
I've heard it mixy, yeah.
Yeah. So by doing that, you can then put your vocal fry at the lowest end of your head voice, which then makes a higher fry. So, for instance, as I've done before, trying to do a woman, like a female voice, you go more into your head, which then makes things all a bit more nasally, a bit more higher, because it's ringing around your head instead of your chest. So a little bit higher, then trying to go down as low as possible. It's a higher fry, and then
people are going to love that on the audio because it sounds so good.
Oh,
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no, because it's like,
yeah.
I get it now. You know?
Yeah, and then by doing that, you can then push through that, and then it makes more of a screamy fry of a kind of noise.
But that doesn't hurt you.
Not at all. I could do that all day. So don't. I'd be very annoying. But yeah, so it's that kind of thing. And then on top of that is, as I've what's his name? Lorna Shore is
Oh yeah, the deathcore
Will.
band.
Yeah. So Will, the lead singer of that, he's got a couple of videos out on YouTube that he's doing actual research with a couple of vocal coaches and researchers as well. Chris Lipe and Elizabeth Zarofsky, I think her name is. I'm really sorry for butchering your name. Charismatic voice, both fantastic YouTube videos, like channels, if you're interested in that. But they actually did like an MRI of while he was doing those.
Wow.
And you can see like how he's using his tongue. So then I started playing about with how to use your tongue and how to change the voice. So instead of going, you can then change it into a kind of noise instead. So it just, and again, it a little bit of warmth, but it doesn't hurt. So that's what I thought would be really cool to play around more with.
It's interesting because I'm finding similarities with when I was learning improv, which is an easy way to sort of generate a character. Is just to like move your mouth in a different position or put your tongue at the back of your mouth or behind your teeth.
Yeah.
And instantly you've got a new character. And I'm finding it very interesting, sort of like the overlap here.
Yeah.
And so for less extreme vocal stuff, like obviously you're an accent dude as well. That was the dog. He's also an accent dude. We've spoken on the podcast multiple times because we always forget what we talk about. With your echolalia. Which in broad strokes means that if you're talking to someone with a strong accent, you tend to follow the accent.
Yes, or even noises as well. More often, like I'll just
safe.
copy. If I annoy Carrie as well. Like if there's a cool sort of sound, I'll just go. Like how I can make that noise, which is it's very annoying being the partner of a voice man.
A voiceman. John Voiceman. So I guess the question I was sort of driving towards was how much of your talent for accents comes from just being a good mimic and how much of it is actual research and graft?
So, I will, again, like it's a lot of the time I won't release an accent on a job or something until I've practiced it enough, and it's ones that I have picked up. Like I do like a Yorkshire or Midlands accent because I was doing Sean Bean impressions, and so I do Sean Bean's impressions, and you'd always start off with "bastard," and then I find, I think it's called like a key phrase or something like that. If you're saying something like that, you can then lock into that accent in the way that sort of is pronouncing stuff in your head.
I do the same. I think it's a technique a lot of people use because it's just once you've got sort of like a key phrase with a lot of the different vowel sounds and the consonant sounds, you can usually try and sort of build out from there.
So and that's kind of what I do. And then what I'll do is I'll then introduce that into my auditions. So when I'm doing auditions, obviously you've got to do one read, or you might do a couple of reads and then submit that. I do the same. I'll record 3 versions of the same script, and then I'll do one as the straight read as the brief says, 2 in a different accent or in a slightly different character or a slightly different emotion, and then I'll do one that's just totally balls to the wall, just totally different to try and just 1 show the range, but 2 maybe give options that they didn't even think of. So, kind of thing. And so normally that one that I've been practicing I'll put on, and funnily enough every now and then if I do put them in quite new, I will win the job with that one, and they'll go, that was interesting. I'll be like, oh, fantastic. And then I try and... That's
quite cool that you're using your auditions as practice as well.
A/B testing.
yeah literally, yeah. No, that makes sense. So if I was to ask you to put a number on it, a number of accents that you have access to, how whereabouts would you be? Doesn't have to be exact.
I'd say comfortably probably about 4 or 5.
It's less than I thought.
But then I do like doing sort of regional accents.
They count.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more than 7, 8, 9. Because again, like my natural voice is I'd say Essex or East Anglia, but then you've got Deep Essex, then you've got Cockney, which I grew up with. So it's then, and then Dublin, because then I'm just copying my nans or people that I grew up with. So, and that's thing, because I didn't realise that I was copying them until you do them, and you go, oh, I'll do an annex, like, and then you're like, oh, that's my own voice.
Sometimes
kind of
when I get casting briefings for accents, I get really annoyed when they're too general.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we want an Essex accent. And I'm like, well, there's like 5. Like, which one do you want?
Yeah. And that,
like, do you mean Towie? Or are you actually talking about maybe someone who's from Coggeshall? Like, you know, what do you want?
and what? And then what was I going to say? Yeah. And then just copying little areas here and there. And then, wait a minute. I've completely lost where I was going with that. So, yeah. Ignore me.
Fine. Yeah, no, so you got a lot of accents, you got a lot of voices. So in your work, it's sort of, for me, from what you've told me at least, it sort of seems relatively split between really fun creative stuff and really dry textbooks. So how do you find the fun in like doing a audiobook of like a manual for a Hoover or something?
Well, I've done 3 audiobooks of coding textbooks.
Yuck.
And they wanted me to do the code in the examples as well, so I had to narrate those. And I think I've trying to find interest in it in yourself really helps. So, like as you said, like finding going around on set and finding out what each of these people do. That's how I find with like with the audiobooks that are quite dry, is just trying to work out how it, like, understand how it works yourself. Like as we've done before on another podcast, it was the how to use a telephony system, or as I said about coding, or even sort of telephone signal pylons and stuff like that. Just working out how it's interesting, or the main pieces of information that need to be portrayed, you're then picking them out, and then overdoing that for long periods of time. I've managed to do it cold, so I don't have to do any pre-reads. I can just pick it out as I'm going along, and then as you've heard me do many times before, if I make a mistake, then I'll just sort of see it on the
future editor Sean. That wasn't Sean making a mistake. But that was him providing an example.
Yeah, I then make a click, and then it's easy to see on a waveform that you can then point out and make the corrections a little bit better, or more easily, really.
Just tidying everything up.
Keep it tidy. Keep it tidy.
Keep it tidy.
Keep it chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for you yourself, like, is there a sort of end goal, like an ambition, or with what you're doing, to sort of where you'll reach a point where you think, I've reached the top of the mountain, not done per se, but like, you know, I've reached the top of the mountain. What's the dream?
I don't know. I think it would be amazing to get a TV series or a film that, like, with credits like that. It would just be unreal. To be able to go to external recording studios as well. I've only done that maybe 2-3 times in my career, because I've got my home studio.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the time it is just easier. They can just log in, go boom, record. Thanks for that. Bye. No extra expensive and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I still see myself as sort of like an up and comer, someone who's not really doing it properly. So, like, because I don't have an agent, I get like all the work I get from myself from websites and stuff like that. I don't. Yeah. So you see, it's that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So I'd like, maybe other people, I've got to take that step back and go, other people have looked where I've come, and they're like, oh, actually, he's doing pretty well. And I've got to do that a bit more. But I think, I'd love to be able to, like, I know it feels like it's sort of like the ABCs of voiceover, but like have an agent, get a TV show or something that's on the TV that's sort of like, or like even on streaming, and I don't know. I think I'm doing like the clients that I have, and they say that I do well, and I'm like you. I will go out of my way to make sure that what the process of the project goes as smoothly as possible. At the end of the day, it's their baby, and I'm just a little part of that baby.
That's also part of your job as well, isn't it? Like, you know, it's not just the performance; it's also the the providing a service.
Yeah, well, and that's it, because I'll do the audio editing of it. I do basic editing on everything, but if they need to, I can do other stuff, and then do the video editing, syncing, dubbing. I've just recently started doing more dubbing as well, which is fun.
It's fun but hard.
Oh yeah. It's
What language?
Korean, Mandarin. Is it Sanskrit, or is that the written one?
Possibly.
It might be Hindi, and Spanish.
Right,
well.
so 3 of them that are significantly harder than, say, German.
Yeah.
One of the things with dubbing German that I found is that it's actually quite easy because they talk like us quite a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas someone speaking Hindi, I imagine there's not much overlap in terms of lip play.
Well, I've been lucky. The Hindi one and the Korean one, they were both animated anyway.
Okay, that's easier.
So you're just matching to mouth flaps.
Yeah.
The Mandarin one though was that was difficult because it was a live show, but the words that mean the same in Mandarin are like 3 times as long.
Yeah, that's an issue.
In English. So you're then having the to and fro of like, okay, look, here's your alts. Oh, Lithuanian, that's another one that I've done. But here's your alts. This is what you wanted it to say. I've tried to fit it into there. And sometimes, more often than not, they just want the message to be portrayed that way.
Yeah.
So they don't mind if it goes over a little bit. But yeah, it's just each one is so very different. You can't really just have a hard and fast rule to go with everything.
No. I mean, again, going back to the German thing, is that, like, yeah, it's quite similar to our language, but also some of their words, as with Mandarin, very long.
Yeah.
They love a compound word, the Germans.
Yeah. What does that mean? Yes.
Yes, Geimenflaction. That's fart. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I mean, we sort of landed on it with mine as well, my interview, so I thought I'd ask. With regards to anyone who thought of maybe thinking trying it out, giving the old VO a shot.
Yeah.
How would you guide them? What would Daddy Sean say?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's that same thing. It's like, make sure you got your basics down perfect. Like, you can jump in and hop on the mic, and you've, like, straight away, you don't have to, you know your angle, you know how to address the mic properly. That's something that I didn't say about. Addressing the mic, you don't want to be straight on. You want something, you want a bit of a distance away, you want a bit of an angle on there, just so you're not getting your plosives. But then obviously other times you're going to have a read where you want to be up close because there's something called the proximity effect. So I'm going to talk lower, but even though I'm closer to the mic and I'm trying to keep the same speed and everything as normal, my voice is going to be portrayed lower than if I was back here. I'm still at the same tone, but I've just projected a bit more, but it sounds higher. And that's just because the cavity of your mouth is closer to the microphone, which is then pushing out. It's more of a subwoofer than it is a tweeter in like, let's say a speaker.
Yeah.
So it's knowing what to do on those and stuff like that. And I'd say give it a shot. I'm all for giving it a go, seeing how you like it. Practice with yourself.
In the shower.
In the shower. But yeah, just sort of play around with the voices that you can make and what and stuff like that. So it's and enjoy it. Have it as a, like, you can have it as a hobby while at the same time holding down a job. I mean, that's what I did. That's how I started. So I'd be a bit of a hypocrite if I said don't do it that way. But it is the long way of doing things, and I'm probably still paying for it right now. But it is a possibility. And again, like, if you do enjoy it as a hobby, fantastic. But if it's something that you can't find yourself going a day without doing, then it's probably something that's worth pursuing for you.
Wow, it's almost like there's huge amounts of overlap between voiceover artistry and acting.
Yeah, well, seeing as it's also called voice acting.
Yes. I prefer artistry.
Artistry?
Yeah, because it separates you from me.
Well, it's funny, there was a conversation about that on Gravy for the Brain, because it is, there is voiceover, voice acting and voice artistry are all very different things, because they're approaching the same thing in a very different way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of like, well, it's even though technically it's acting, when you're doing on the new, let's say Death Stranding, for instance, that's actually technically called emotion capture, because now they're, instead of just trying to capture the characters, they're trying to capture everything, the voice, the movements, the facial expressions. So you're still acting, but you're trying to capture everything. So it's kind of just splitting the same hairs in multiple different ways to just sort of find those further niches, really.
Interesting. So I suppose it's an interesting question. So I sort of I feel like sometimes when I do voiceover work, I feel like I'm invading your world. In a way. So the question I ask, therefore, is: has there ever been a part of you, now that you're sort of a qualified performer, a professional one, no less? Is there ever a bug to go to straight acting? Do you?
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to give it a go. Yeah, I mean, I've had that for the past couple of years to do more in-person auditions and stuff like that, and now that the girls are getting older as well, one's going off to secondary school, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to possibly be able to go out and actually like to do some proper acting and understanding that whole world a bit better as well, and seeing like how my experience can affect or can either help or like hinder acting as well.
Well, it's like I was saying with like the overlap, like, you know, we know you have the temperament for it because you, as I am, are self-employed freelancer. So you get a lot of knockbacks. You're relying on yourself a lot of the time. So your mindset's there. We know you can perform because you just did our vocal breakdown there, which is wonderful. And I
apologise to everyone if that was a bit of a weird listening thing, if you've got like misphonia or something.
No, I think it's great because, like, I mean, this happens when we do, because Alex, it should be said from our Discord, is also we play D&D with. And everyone there is always so impressed when you switch from your character voice back to your normal voice and then back again, because you do it so seamlessly. And I think people don't, because obviously they only hear the end result, they don't hear you talking normally. Yeah. It can be quite jarring for a normie.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
But it's funny because it's like, you know, for me, again, it's normal. Because, like, you know, if I'm doing a different accent for a job or anything, like, you know, I'll be on the camera being like, no, sit down, put that light out, cut. You're right, how you going? You're right, yeah.
Was that good? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I guess, and I'm not doing it in the accent because I'm not Jared fucking Leto. So I guess for them it is weird and jarring because it's normal for us.
Yeah.
And then there's of course the fact that I listened to you doing your character voice and learned how to do it myself.
Exactly.
So now that we can get stereo versions of that, because I think I'm like you a lot of ways. That I like hearing things and trying to mimic it.
I think that's a part of it, like especially when you're performing something like that. It's quite a famous saying: is sometimes a great character comes from a bad impersonation.
Oh yeah.
And so. Yeah, just by copying it each time, it just sort of you find your placement. You find a new place in yourself that you're like, oh, I've not tried that before. And for those of you who don't know, it's my character was a little autonome robot guy called Experiment One,
And he all really talked like that because he didn't really know how to be a person properly. And he was annoying everyone all the time.
But he wasn't annoying. That was the thing. We loved him. As soon as you did the voice, I fell in love with Experiment One immediately. And like for me, when because I would watch you, because we do it online, because everyone lives in different parts of the world. And so I was watching your jaw. Like I was watching it, so I was like, okay, he's slackened it, but then tightened it at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so that's it. And then I've just sort of drop it a little bit down. Just drop it lightly into my throat, and I think I found him.
I found Experiment One.
There you go. You got him.
I'm a little robot man.
And I think they did. I think Alex did request this. We should do the outro. Thank you for the interview, by the way.
Oh, thank you as well. It was, and well, we hope you enjoyed sort of like this little peek into our worlds, really.
And we should do the outro both as Experiment One.
Right, well, thank you very much, Alex. It was really fun to do this.
Thank you for insisting that we interview each other.
Yes, and if you enjoyed it, please follow and like all the nice things. Follow our YouTube channel. That's got the episodes on there too. And
Hopefully they'll be up by now.
yes,
And if they're not, I'm going to hit you with a stick.
yes. It's like wood on wood, really.
Wood on wood. It's a little wooden man.
And yes, if you'd like to be a member of our illegal team, you can also be. You can join our Discord.
Join our Discord. Come onto the server and request things like this.
Yes.
No one wants this.
No one wants this. I think Milo is looking quite panicked now.
Milo doesn't know what's happened to Dad. Do I have a dad?
But yes.
So that was for the one person that requested that.
For everybody else who's listened who didn't want that, we are sorry.
That was annoying. That was fun. I'm glad. Now we know more about each other.
Yes, that was really good. I like that. So thank you for
Thank you for the
requesting that.
suggestion. And hey, if you've got a kooky idea for the pod, let us know on the Discord. It has to be on the Discord. I'm thinking of deleting the email.
All we're getting on the email is spam.
So much spam, like multiple emails a day.
I don't even know how we get it.
Like we haven't signed into anything. I don't know how. It's bizarre. I hate it.
Yeah.
There was one in particular that we'll end on this. There was one in particular that it was a podcast agency. And it kicked off with, firstly it said, hello, shut up, which was really funny. But then it said, I've listened to a few episodes of your podcast and would be very interested in blah, 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 blah. And it took everything in my power not to reply, oh, which ones? Which ones specifically did you listen to and what did you like about them?
That would be great.
They
That
won't
would be
answer.
awesome.
They won't answer. I get it all the time. Honestly, TikTok's the one.
Yeah.
People messaging, hey, I loved your video. Which one, mate? Which
Yeah.
one did you love? Was it the one where I pretended to be Irish dancing on Zoom? I bet it wasn't. Because that was shit.
Yes, it was actually.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, pay me. But yeah, that'll do.
Yes.
For this episode and for today's round of JTBs. As you know, we block record these.
Yes.
It has been a long day. It has been a hot day.
But yeah, now I'm really just sort of holding my hands because I sweat when we record and I'm scared to look.
He's on his 8th t-shirt of the day. So
Not
thank
far
you,
off.
Thank you all for listening. Join the Discord, watch the YouTube, follow the Instagram, follow the TikTok, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, listen to the old episodes, go back, read the guests, join the Discord, check out all the guest stuff that we've put in the show bump. Let's go Finley McCullough.
Credits!
Thank you for listening to Shut Up and Answer the Question. Your hosts were me, Ethan Lawrence at Ethan D. Lawrence everywhere, and Sean Antony at Sean Antony VO on social media and Loudmouth Gaming on YouTube. If you want to follow the podcast, you can! We're at Shut Up and Answer Pod on Instagram and Shut Up Pod on TikTok. We also have a YouTube channel for the show, so if you want to watch video versions of the podcast, just type Shut Up and Answer the Question into YouTube. If you want to send us an email to ask a question, we're shutuppod@yahoo.com, and we also have a Discord, the link to which can be found in the pod blurb below. We want to thank Kitsune Kei for the artwork, Eyes on Legs for the music, Podbean for hosting this podcast, and we will see you next time.